network of champions.
In the past 18 months, Puerto Rican Felix Trinidad has become an American gold medal slayer. 3 times he has faced past Olympic title holders. 3 times Trinidad has vanquished them. In February of last year, Trinidad met 1984 gold medalist Pernell Whitaker.
Down goes Whitaker on a straight right hand. Pernell wobbled again.
7 months later, Trinidad faced 1992 Olympic gold medal winner Oscar De La Hoya.
Gotta be a tremendous scoring round for Oscar De La Hoya.
Trinidad looked like anything but a winner after 8 rounds, but then the fight changed.
Felix Trinidad is going to have to do something dramatic and do it soon to turn this around.
De La Hoya's big margin in the early rounds of the fight seems to be evaporating now.
4 months ago, Felix Trinidad's Olympic tour brought him to a man with considerably less experience than De La Hoya, 1996 gold medalist David Reed. After that early knockdown by Reed, it was all Trinidad. Somewhere in Trinidad's near future looms Fernando Vargas. But before that, Tito will have to get by tonight's opponent, Mamdou Thiam. No gold medals in Thiam's past, but there's gold in any matchup with Felix Trinidad.
Welcome back. HBO Sports tonight comes to you from steamy Miami, Florida, where we have a special edition of HBO's World Championship Boxing. Felix Trinidad defending his 154-pound world title against mandatory challenger, potentially dangerous Frenchman, originally from Senegal, Mamdou Thiam. The American Airlines Arena in Miami packed in the cheap seats, though some of the expensive sections are less fully populated, and you can be sure almost everyone here has come to see Puerto Rican born and raised Felix Trinidad fight. South Florida's Latino population hasn't seen Trinidad live in 7 years, and they're expecting the most out of their Campeón del Mundo. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. We welcome you back to this special edition of HBO's World Championship Boxing. Special because it's a chance to see one of the most celebrated fighters in the world in what is really a showcase for him en route to bigger business down the road. If Felix Trinidad can get past this mandatory challenge against little-known Mamdou Thiam tonight, if later this summer Fernando Vargas can defeat Ross Thompson in a similar situation, then on December 2 in Las Vegas, we may be seeing Felix Trinidad against Fernando Vargas in the next mega fight to take place in the 147, 154-pound neighborhood where so much of the sports talent is concentrated. That's the focus for Trinidad tonight, to get past this hurdle and go on toward more multi-million-dollar business. Working with me, as always, HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant. Larry, we're here in another traditional type arena as opposed to a casino environment. That's exciting. It's exciting to me that we don't know anything at all about Mamdou Thiam, and virtually nobody does. Off what we've seen, how would you compare him to another African fighter who was nurtured in Paris, Ike Quartet?
Probably not as good, possibly stronger and tougher. Also with a legend on his side. Thiam, like the legendary battling Siki, came to Paris from Senegal at the age of 12. Both of them became fighters. But Siki, whose guardian was a French actress, would promenade on the Champs-Élysées with a leopard on a leash. And he famously took a fight with light heavyweight champion George Carpentier on the condition that he would throw the fight. And then he double-crossed the champion, knocked him out. That was 1922. Tonight, the challenger is supposed to lose on merit, the merit of the champion. But you got to watch those treacherous Senegalese fighters, Jim.
Tremendous story, Larry, and it's entirely appropriate, of course, that Mamdou Thiam comes out of the spiritual footsteps of battling Siki to seek battle with Felix Trinidad. And for a more straightforward look, let's turn to two-time world heavyweight champion George Foreman. George, Felix Trinidad, at only age 27, goes into his 18th title defense tonight. That's a lot of time spent at the top plateau for a fighter at that age. And, of course, in the past year, he's finally begun to get famous and rich as well. Do you see any indication, though, that his motivation will slip?
27 is a lot of age for a fighter who's been in so many good fighters, Olympic champions. And he's gone a distance with most of them. So it's not like he's a young boy, but I haven't seen anywhere where this guy slipped. He's not happy anymore, but he sure is mean, as usual.
Well, and one aid to Trinidad has always been his life is about fighting and not much other than fighting. Felix Trinidad has had to work a long time to gain the kind of star power that other fighters in his weight class began their careers with. He found a formula: get into the ring with the bigger stars and beat them face to face.
This is a legitimate knockout puncher at 147 pounds.
A year and a half ago, welterweight champion Felix Tito Trinidad walked into Madison Square Garden to finally bring his career out of the shadows. Despite 14 previous title defenses, it wasn't until February 1999 that Trinidad was first face-to-face with a marquee opponent. That's when Felix took on Olympic gold medalist and longtime pound-for-pound king Pernell Whitaker.
That was a difficult fight because of Pernell Whitaker's style. He does a lot of bending and moving around. That's one of his hallmarks.
He's been having so much trouble with Whitaker, and yet he's maintained his poise.
I did learn something, to take things more calmly, not to get frustrated in the ring. I like to go for the knockout, but I can't win by decision. The most important thing is not to make any rash decisions.
The resounding victory gave Trinidad leverage to pressure a second Olympic gold medalist into the ring, Oscar De La Hoya. The long-anticipated super fight to superstardom was bigger than just unifying the welterweight division, and the pressure of this career-defining moment made Trinidad uneasy.
The most anticipated non-heavyweight showdown of this decade.
If you're nervous, it doesn't mean you're afraid. You're nervous because you don't want to disappoint the fans. You want to do well with all the attention you're getting.
The lessons of patience Trinidad had learned from the Whitaker bout backfired here, and Oscar took advantage.
Outclass is too big a word for what's happening here, but it's verging on that.
Oscar De La Hoya always had his hands in front. My fight against him was harder because he moves around a lot. I was chasing him, and it was difficult because my hand almost couldn't reach.
But then, De La Hoya sat on his lead, and Trinidad desperately played catch-up.
He's got to win round 12 to at least pull out a draw.
Felix eked out an upset win, a disputed decision, while the lackluster fight frustrated all its massive expectations.
Some people have said that maybe it wasn't the fight of the millennium, because it wasn't a good fight, but I don't agree. Maybe Oscar thinks that, but I was there to fight.
With the victory, Tito was king of the welterweights and a bigger hero than ever in Puerto Rico. When terms for a rematch with De La Hoya collapsed, Trinidad targeted yet another American Olympic gold medalist.
Once he beat De La Hoya, we got the opportunity to go up in weight. The door was opened. That was David Reed. A lot of people thought this fight would stop Tito.
Adjusting to an added 7 pounds, combined with another slow start to create a near disaster.
He was lucky. He hit me and I went down. People said I was a little slow in the early rounds. I didn't see it that way. I tried to keep my rhythm. He landed a good hit, but it cost him in the end.
For the second fight in a row, Trinidad needed a gutty second-half comeback to win. The new title further enhanced the Latino hero's delayed star status.
I've had 37 fights, undefeated, 30 knockouts. I've beaten 3 gold medalists. I have fought against 6 mandatory #1 challengers during my career. I've beaten them all. Tito can be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Pernell Whitaker, Oscar de la Hoya, David Reed, they were great boxers. Beating them makes me very proud, for myself and also for Puerto Rico. When my career is done, it will be there, recorded in history.
Tito Trinidad's road to glory opened up much later than he had planned. But by tarnishing 3 gold medalists in 13 months, he has carved out a spot on center stage and now looks to state his case as best pound for pound.
Back in Miami, the theme continues in Trinidad's career. Victory tonight bolts him toward a possible matchup with Fernando Vargas, and though Vargas did not win a gold medal in Atlanta, he was there as a member of the American Olympic team, and that identity has helped to spur his early professional prominence. Hand of the tape now for Felix Tito Trinidad against Mamdou Thiam, and you can see that Thiam is 1 year older at 28, gives up 2 inches in height, 2 inches in reach. Thiam weighed in 1.5 pounds under the limit, has put on 6.5 pounds since. Trinidad has added 9 to bring a 4-pound advantage into the ring tonight. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
A lot of numbers. What does it mean? Thiam's 93 punches around were made against fighters that weren't household names anywhere except in their own households. If he can do half as well as this against Trinidad, we might have a fight. Both of them throw jabs, but mainly are known for their big punching power.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Felix Trinidad Mamdou Thiam fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
You know what this is. We're giving y'all 5 seconds.
And Mamdou Thiam will enter the ring first. Moved from Senegal to France at age 12 as his family gradually brought all of its members over to France. And he began to get into neighborhood sports, including soccer, including bicycling. Boxing just one of the many that he picked up, and it's the one with which he stuck.
And Jim, his friends call him Tutu for short. No comment.
I'm sure all of us, given the name Mamdou, would prefer to be called Dudu, right?
Well, maybe then Mama.
Dudu is darling in French, you know.
Well, and as a fighter, he has some lovability, particularly if you like punchers. Mamdou Thiam is not expected to be an elusive target for Felix Trinidad. He stands in front of his opponents and tries to blow them away. One Las Vegas oddsmaker, looking at the list of Thiam's previous opponents, almost all of them in France, installed Trinidad as a 30-to-1 favorite. But if you've watched Mamdou punch on film, you tend to give him a little better shot than that. Overall record for Thiam, 33 wins, only 1 loss early in his career, 30 KOs. But when Trinidad was fighting Pernell Whitaker, Thiam was fighting Alexander Perevochikov. When Trinidad was fighting Oscar de la Hoya, Thiam was fighting Valentino Manca. Draw your own conclusions.
Has the appearance of a stakes horse against an allowance.
The network of champions. In the past 18 months, Puerto Rican Felix Trinidad has become an American gold medal slayer. 3 times he has faced past Olympic title holders. 3 times Trinidad has vanquished them. In February of last year, Trinidad met 1984 gold medalist Pernell Whitaker.
Whitaker on a straight right hand. Pernell wobbled again.
7 months later, Trinidad faced 1992 Olympic gold medal winner Oscar De La Hoya.
Gotta be a tremendous scoring round for Oscar De La Hoya.
Trinidad looked like anything but a winner after 8 rounds, but then the fight changed.
Felix Trinidad is going to have to do something dramatic and do it soon to turn this around.
De La Hoya's big margin in the early rounds of the fight seems to be evaporating now.
4 months ago, Felix Trinidad's Olympic tour brought him to a man with considerably less experience than De La Hoya, 1996 gold medalist David Reed. After that early knockdown by Reed, it was all Trinidad. Somewhere in Trinidad's near future looms Fernando Vargas. But before that, Tito will have to get by tonight's opponent, Mamdou Thiam. No gold medals in Thiam's past, but there's gold in any matchup with Felix Trinidad.
Welcome back. HBO Sports Tonight comes to you from steamy Miami, Florida, where we have a special edition of HBO's World Championship Boxing. Felix Trinidad defending his 154-pound world title against mandatory challenger, potentially dangerous Frenchman, originally from Senegal, Mamdou Thiam. The American Airlines Arena in Miami packed in the cheap seats, though some of the expensive sections are less fully populated, and you can be sure almost everyone here has come to see Puerto Rican born and raised Felix Trinidad fight. South Florida's Latino population hasn't seen Trinidad live in 7 years, and they're expecting the most out of their Campeón del Mundo. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. We welcome you back to this special edition of HBO's World Championship Boxing. Special because it's a chance to see one of the most celebrated fighters in the world and what is really a showcase for him en route to bigger business down the road. If Felix Trinidad can get past this mandatory challenge against little-known Mamdou Thiam tonight, if later this summer Fernando Vargas can defeat Ross Thompson in a similar situation, then on December 2 in Las Vegas, we may be seeing Felix Trinidad against Fernando Vargas in the next mega fight to take place in the 147, 154-pound neighborhood where so much of the sports talent is concentrated. That's the focus for Trinidad tonight, to get past this hurdle and go on toward more multi-million-dollar business. Working with me, as always, HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant. Larry, we're here in another traditional type arena as opposed to a casino environment. That's exciting. It's exciting to me that we don't know anything at all about Mamdou Thiam, and virtually nobody does. Off what we've seen, how would you compare him to another African fighter who was nurtured in Paris, Ike Quartet?
Probably not as good, possibly stronger and tougher. Also with a legend on his side. Thiam, like the legendary battling Siki, came to Paris from Senegal at the age of 12. Both of them became fighters. But Siki, whose guardian was a French actress, would promenade on the Champs-Élysées with a leopard on a leash. And he famously took a fight with light heavyweight champion George Carpentier on the condition that he would throw the fight. And
rounds of boxing for the WBA Super Welterweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Miami, it's time for the main event of the evening. Introducing to you first the challenger on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing black trunks with gold trim, hailing from and representing Paris, France. He weighed in at a trim and ready 152.5 pounds. With a fine record of 33 wins, only 1 loss. He has 30 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the European champion and the WBA #1 ranked contender, introducing the challenger, Mamdou Thiam. His opponent across the ring is the defending world champion on my left in the red corner. Truly one of boxing's great stars. Entering the ring wearing black trunks with gray trim and fighting out of Cupe Alto, Puerto Rico. He weighed in at the super welterweight limit of 154 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with 37 wins, no losses, 30 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former welterweight world champion and the current undefeated WBA super welterweight champion of the world. Aquí está el gran campeón puertorriqueño y mundial, introducing Felix Trinidad. Once again, a referee in charge of the bout now to give instructions, Jorge Alonso.
Trinidad, Mamdou. Mamdou, right here. Tito, acá. All right, fighters, I gave you the instructions earlier in the dressing room today, all right? Remember my instructions, obey my commands at all times, and protect yourself at all times. Any questions from this corner? Any questions from this corner? No. At the bell, come out and give me a clean fight. Let's go. Touch him up. Touch him up. Give me that. Come here. Come here. Right here. It's too early to start that. Let's go.
Jim, it's axiomatic in boxing that a fighter as good and distinguished as Trinidad can only be beaten in his prime by himself if he hasn't taken care of business and preparation for a fighter of this caliber.
He's not that kind of fighter, or at least he hasn't been in the past. But Felix Trinidad is a notoriously slow starter. So too is Mamdou Thiam. It'll be interesting to see if one of the two tries to step up and take advantage of the other in that regard. And of course, as you know, Trinidad has been down in the early rounds of a half-dozen fights in his career, including the last one against David Reed. Every time he got up to knock the man out in front of him.
Tito's got no sweat on his body. Dry body. Mamdou as well, but he seems to be a little looser. You see the veins in his arms. He's done some shadow boxing in the dressing room.
Should every fighter warm to a lather in the dressing room, George?
The warmer you are, the better. You don't want to be out there cold and get hit on the chin. Evidently, that's been a habit of Trinidad. He probably has not learned his art for warming up in the dressing room. Everybody's got their own.
Great jab from Trinidad as he backs up.
Mamdou has got to be careful and steady. If you knock him down, don't try to finish him. You've thrown 300 right hands in the gym. Don't try to throw 600 in the fight. Win every round. Knock him down every round. Don't try to finish him out. And Trinidad, of course, use your jab, stiff it, keep it stiff. Go to the body to make certain this guy doesn't get his coordination going for throwing double left, double right.
First round, tentative. Both fighters seeming just to try to get their legs under them a little bit. Trinidad with the right hand leading now. Big left uppercut and left hook. First serious combination of the fight, and now Thiam stunned by the left. He's never faced a fighter with Trinidad's punching power before. And Mamdou Thiam obviously taken back by Felix Trinidad's strength. Thiam still wobbling as Trinidad looks for a rare early knockout. And look at the right eye of Mamdou Thiam. That right eye is almost closed already.
You know you got a hold. No one's taught this guy how to grab, clinch, hold on. You can't get out of it by fighting, just hold him.
Takes a left hook to the body. Blocks some of the other stuff upstairs.
He's done everything but clinch. If he can get out of this round, Trinidad is going to expel a lot of his energy. That corner is going to have a hard time working on that eye.
Yeah, that eye finishes the round. Do you think Trinidad got a thumb in on that eye? I mean, what would account for that swelling?
I don't think so. This guy just got hit with a lot of shots. He had his gloves in front of his face. That hurts. And it pushes your thumb into your eye.
That might have happened because Thiam's right eye is in bad shape. Thiam makes it out of the round, but plenty the worse for wear.
Hey, check that eye out.
Don't worry, don't go crazy.
Our interpreter is Eli Shiraki in Thiam's corner where they speak French.
Okay. Listen to me. Listen to me. You're going to put your right hand up. Can you see my hand? It seems that Thiam's camp.
When you watch Trinidad throw these kinds of punches,
It seems that he doesn't see.
you start thinking what God had in mind there as a fighter.
CompuBox numbers are overwhelming. Trinidad landed 40 of 67 shots in a rare big first round. The big first round made possible by the fact that Mamdou Thiam has never seen this kind of competition and couldn't handle Felix's punch when first he felt it.
Trinidad better finish him out because this guy has the capability of becoming stronger as the fight goes on. You heard him, don't let him recover.
What about the eye, George?
Well, the eye is in bad shape, but if you get a little confidence with a bad eye, you can sustain. You don't want him to get that confidence. You heard him, finish him out. Mamdou made the mistake of standing in front and following a big puncher. You don't do that. You go left and right, then go to him.
And they told us that he had worked in the gym on a new fight plan, that he had worked in the gym on doing something different, that the something different would be to go side to side and be more elusive. But of course, if you've had 33 fights and you've done one thing, that's what you're likely to do when you get into the ring.
Mamdou is more effective when he can get in a right, double left, double right. You get that rhythm going, he can give you trouble. He hasn't gotten it going yet.
Now he tries to come with the left hook. Mamdou seeming to understand that his best defense here will be a good offense. And now he begins to try to put Trinidad back on his heels by attacking and keeping it going.
Trinidad, you see, he moves to Mamdou's left because that eye is just, to his left, I'm sorry, Mamdou's right eye is just doesn't see a thing.
Right, so Trinidad's moving toward the bad eye to set up and attack that target.
You can stay out of harm's way whenever you want. Go to his left when you want to hit him, then go back to the right for safety.
Thiam chasing Trinidad and trying to seize the initiative. Trinidad will look for an opportunity to counter with his left hand. Mamdou had better be very careful when he throws the right.
Trinidad had better establish his left jab because this guy's tasted his best stuff now. Now he's going to come on. You lose a lot of energy trying to knock him out, and he's coming on.
And Thiam knocks Trinidad back with a right hand. Low blow from Trinidad. Thiam walks through it. This guy is strong.
And you know, he hasn't got his rhythm going yet. But that eye is going to be the telling story tonight.
Another huge left hook from Felix Trinidad, and Thiam comes back anyway.
Here's a guy, Mamdou, who can take the punishment and still be there. Had it not been for that left eye, this could be a different story.
Another uppercut starts is Thiam.
Right eye, I'm sorry.
And with the eye shut like that, cannot see the left hand coming. Cannot see the left hand coming. Trinidad doing big damage in the last 30 seconds of the round. The ring doctor is Dr. Alan Fields, and he will be watching Mamdou Thiam across the ring. Our interpreter in Trinidad's corner is Hector Garcia.
Just continue. You're going to knock out him.
He's dead. The guy's dead. Just get your hands in there. Don't hold back.
Thiam is probably the strongest fighter that Trinidad has ever faced. He's determined. He just doesn't have the skill level to deal with a fighter of this quality.
So you're saying already he's stronger than David Reed?
Absolutely. Very strong. I very rarely have ever seen Trinidad starting off the fight circling his opponent. It's the opponent who circle away from him. But he has shown some respect for the fact that this guy is very strong, and then in the second half of the round, he goes at him.
Punch that numbers in round two. Trinidad 19 of 45. Thiam 19 of 57.
Mamdou has just never run into that kind of power before. Some fighters know about it, and some have never seen it. This is a new thing for him. You just can't cover up. You got to move your head and your body. You just can't hold your hands up this time.
Poignant sight between rounds as the ring doctor leaned in over the ropes to try to get a look at Thiam's right eye. Mamdou's father, here from France, stepped up on the apron and leaned in with him. He wanted to see how his son was doing.
Some guys, you can lay your hands up and let them punch on you. Some guys, they'll hurt you even through your gloves. Trinidad is that kind of puncher. Keep your head moving, your waist moving. Don't stand still for nothing.
What is it about Felix' technique that makes him such a big puncher, George?
It's something inborn. The old saying, he was blessed.
And part of it is his commitment to his punches. He takes the chance because he is that hungry to win.
Hey, Thiam commits to his punches too.
Well, he commits, but he just doesn't have what nature has given Trinidad, power. Ooh, those uppercuts.
It's not just power, it's also technique, I think, George.
No. This is pure power. Some guys can do the same thing and nothing happens.
The right eye is grotesque. The right eye is swollen, completely shut, totally grotesque. Not sure how long the doctor will let Thiam continue, particularly since he can't see Felix's left hand coming.
Trinidad doesn't have big arms. He doesn't have exceptionally big shoulders.
And he looks stiff-legged in there sometimes.
Yeah. It's like Bob Foster. They just do something.
And Thiam can't have any more. Thiam asked the referee to stop the fight. His right eye simply too bad for him to continue.
You hate to see them do it, but it wasn't going to get any better for him.
Well, you know, that's a brave fighter. You know he is. He wouldn't have quit unless he found the situation just impossible.
He just has never seen that kind of power delivered to him.
From the first uppercut left hook combination, that was it.
Look at Trinidad, he just doesn't seem to have to look for uppercuts. He has.
So in closing it out in round three, Felix Trinidad landed 29 of 46 power shots. And it would have been that way. It would have been target practice as long as they continued.
Tell you about De La Hoya fighting a very smart fight. never did stop moving at all.
Yep. No, De La Hoya's first 7 rounds against Trinidad were as masterful can be.
When he was sucking up for air, he kept moving. Trinidad is one of those guys that you look at, and it's all in his face. Something inside of him. We call it the gift.
Born to fight. As Larry Merchant said, God had a fighter in mind.
That's true. Larry called that one right.
Well, so now the ball moves into Fernando Vargas's court. And Vargas, coming off of his huge win over Ike Quartey, will try to beat a mandatory challenger named Ross Thompson in August to set himself up for a meeting with Trinidad. Let's look back at some of the damage that was done toward the end. And that's when Mamdou Thiam decided he had enough. You can see how badly swollen the eye was. And Thiam seemed to realize that Trinidad's left hand is his big weapon. There was nothing he was going to be able to do to stop it.
And you think about it, this guy made Trinidad fight a fight he wasn't even intending to fight. He was in his face from bell to bell.
Yep.
Get up off the canvas, get right back into his face. I think he made Trinidad a better fighter tonight.
I love you, Puerto Rico. Mañana espero en el puesto. Julio Marín allá. Gracias a Wiki aquí, al lado mío.
It takes a fight like that to make a fighter step up for his quality and punching power. Now he has the faith in his own power.
I imagine Felix, you know, to the degree that fighters enjoy this kind of thing, he had to enjoy that. A guy who would stand right in front of him and fight him.
You bring your punching bag to the center of the ring.
That's what he does.
And that's what he had.
Absolutely.
Mamdou was a punching bag tonight.
Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the official particulars on the TKO.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time. 2 minutes, 48 seconds in round number 3. Fighter unable to continue. Our referee in charge stops the contest. The winner by way of technical knockout. He is still undefeated and still the WBA Super Welterweight Champion of the world, Felix Trinidad.
Don't do that shit to me. Don't do that shit to me. Cut that bullshit out. No. Don't cut that bullshit out. Don't pull that shit on me. No. Fuck that shit.
Final punch stat numbers, totally dominated by Trinidad. 96 out of 175 to 34 out of 136. Tito, a notoriously slow starter, as we told you at the beginning of the fight, forced to come out and start a little faster by the aggressive style of Thiam. And after he landed the first uppercut left hook combination and broke up Thiam's eye, he had a target to work with, and there was every reason to continue to be aggressive. 72 out of 118 power punches. If Felix Trinidad does that against you, you're going home early, and you're going home hurt. And that's what's happening with Mamdou Thiam. Heck of a performance by Trinidad. And one more thing, George. He looks so comfortable at 154 pounds.
Well, like Larry said, God had him in mind when he made a boxer.
Yep.
This guy's he's got the whole package, and he's just going to get better.
Tremendous performance by Trinidad via an interpreter. Let's see what he has to say to Larry Merchant.
All right, thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Tito. You usually don't start this fast. What was there about your opponent that you saw such opportunity?
Usualmente tú no empiezas en esta velocidad. ¿Qué tuviste en tu oponente que te hizo empezar de esta manera?
Bueno, gracias a Dios mi condición, lo lastimé temprano. El mismo primer round le cerré un ojo, el ojo derecho y tenía que aprovechar la oportunidad.
It's because of my good conditioning, I was able to put him close his eye in the early round, and because of my conditioning, I'm able to do this.
He seemed to be very strong when he came out. You were circling around, just waiting for an opportunity. What did you see that gave you that opportunity?
Él estaba bastante fuerte en el primer asalto, y tú le estuviste dando la vuelta por alrededor para poder entrarle de alguna manera. ¿Qué tuviste que te dio la oportunidad de poder atacar de la manera que atacaste?
Bueno, de verdad yo tengo un gran boxeo, vine con una gran condición y aproveché el momento que tenía muy bueno en el primer round.
I took advantage of the opportunity that I had in the first round, and my conditioning is very good.
What has it meant to you moving from welterweight to junior middleweight?
¿Qué ha querido ser para ti subir a tus 157 libras ahora? Los 154.
Bueno, no, yo soy un 154, lo he dicho todo el tiempo, soy un super welter y aquí que me siento muy bien.
I feel very good at this weight. I'm a super welterweight. I feel very good, very comfortable at this weight.
Are you satisfied with the opportunities at this weight rather than the much talked about rematch with De La Hoya?
¿Tú estás más satisfecho en este peso que no tratando de quedarte y coger la revancha con De La Hoya?
Yo soy 154 libras. Si Oscar De La Hoya sube el peso mío, pues haremos la pelea a lo mejor en algún momento.
I'm 154 pounds. If Oscar De La Hoya wants to come up to my weight, that's fine. So be it.
All right, just tell us what your impression is of Fernando Vargas and your thoughts about coming to that fight later this year.
Quiero que nos digas la impresión tuya de Fernando Vargas y de la pelea de él que viene dentro de pronto.
Fernando Vargas es un gran peleador. Tengo una buena amistad con él, pero ya en el ring pues, es diferente, pero es un gran peleador.
He's a great fighter. I'm a very good friend of his, but in the ring is something different.
Thank you very much. Again, congratulations. Go ahead. Yes, Tito.
Gracias.
Sí, quiero enviarle decirle a la persona que pueda tener a Rolandito, de verdad que esperamos que se lo deba a su madre, a su padre en Puerto Rico, de verdad que así lo esperamos todo Puerto Rico.
He's talking about a child in Puerto Rico that was kidnapped, and he's hoping that whoever has that child to return home.
Y también quiero enviar un saludo a Guardián Fernández en Puerto Rico, que se mejore de la salud.
And just salutations to people in Puerto Rico and friends and so on.
Guardián Fernández.
Mr. Fernandez, Waldemar Fernandez.
Was this fight in Miami everything you had hoped for in terms of the greeting you had from your fans?
Esta pelea en Miami fue como tú pensabas, de la manera que los fanáticos te apoyaban.
Sí, de verdad que los fanáticos siempre me apoyan y se dieron cita aquí esta noche para apoyarme nuevamente.
Yeah, the fans here in Miami are great, and they can show that we're here to support me.
Thank you again.
Okay, thank you.
Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Larry. Now think of this one as kind of an extended train wreck. It started in round one when Trinidad landed the left hook uppercut combination that busted up Mamdou Thiam's right eye and left Thiam compromised through the rest of the action. In round two, Thiam came out aggressively at the beginning of the round and actually rocked Trinidad back with a right hand. But then when Felix began to target the left hand again, in the third minute of round two, he again put Thiam in terrible difficulty. And by the middle of round three, Thiam realized there was nothing he'd be able to do to stop Trinidad's left-hand power, and he walked to the referee and asked that the combat be stopped at that point. At the risk, George, of putting undue pressure on Fernando Vargas because he has to win another fight against Ross Thompson before he can get to the possible matchup with Trinidad on December 2. We've seen what Trinidad can do now at 154 pounds. Vargas is a fighter who can punch, but he can also box and move, as he showed in his great win against Ike Quartey. Would Vargas have to fight against Trinidad the same kind of plan that De La Hoya fought against him for the first 8 rounds at 147?
Not at all. Vargas can stand with him. He's got big shoulders. He's strong. As a matter of fact, you're going to see some of Trinidad boxing Vargas. I think that Vargas stands a greater chance because of the strength of his body. He's a true one. He's a middleweight for sure.
I can't wait to see it. Now you've made me more excited than ever, George.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be strange and interesting, and I'm going to have a lot of fun, as Larry Merchant's wife told me to.
Let's hope it takes place. And Larry Merchant's wife is among the millions who now look forward to some upcoming sports programs right here on HBO. So, Patricia, if you're watching, these are what they are.
August 5, it's the next edition of HBO's new boxing series, KO Nation. This show will come to you from Madison, Wisconsin, where hometown hero Eric Morrell attempts to win the flyweight title from champion Sornpishai Pusnurashank. HBO, the heart and soul of boxing. Also, if you missed it, check out our latest installment of When It Was a Game. In this third documentary, viewers will once again be taken back to a time when fans had special bonds with their heroes, with names like Gibson, Mays, Mantle, and Aaron. When It Was a Game 3, with its exclusive home movies playing in July on HBO. Tune in August 17 for another HBO Sports documentary, Ali Frazier, One Nation, Divisible. We'll examine what may have been the most anticipated sporting event of the last half-century. And you'll see both men as fighters and as symbols of America's fractured society in the 60s and early 70s. Ali versus Frazier, one nation, divisible. Coming next month to HBO.
And we bring you back to ringside in Miami. We told you our website question this evening: who do you think is the best 154-pound fighter? Not terribly surprisingly, given, of course, that you as an audience are interested in Felix Trinidad, or you wouldn't be here. And off the performance we just saw, Trinidad the overwhelming winner in that poll question, 49%. 28% picking Shane Mosley if he moves up to 154 pounds as the best of the group. And of course, later on this evening, you can chat live with 154-pound champion Fernando Vargas as he waits to stake his title against Trinidad's 154-pound title a little bit later on this year. It's no secret what we're working on here. You're talking about four terrific fighters within 7 pounds of each other. De La Hoya and Mosley at 147, Trinidad and Vargas at 154. Of course, it's reminiscent of the situation we had in the 1980s when the four truly great fighters wound up matching against each other a total of 9 times. First, it was Ray Leonard against Tommy Hearns, beginning the whole enterprise on September 14, 1981. Then later, Hagler against Duran. And among the four fighters, as I mentioned, they produced 9 big matchups during the decade, including the unforgettable 3 rounds of mayhem in Hagler-Hearns, and of course, Ray Leonard's incredible comeback win over Marvelous Marvin Hagler by controversial decision, April 6, 1987. Well, we've already kicked it off among these four. Last year, Oscar De La Hoya taking on Felix Trinidad at 147 pounds. Controversial decision to Trinidad. De La Hoya had already beaten Ike Quartey to set up that fight. Fernando Vargas got a huge win over Quartey earlier this year to put himself into the 4-fighter sweepstakes along with De La Hoya, Trinidad, and Shane Mosley, who on June 17 scored a dramatic split decision win over Oscar in their fight in Staples Center. George, when you have 4 fighters in a situation like this, how difficult is it for them to focus on their own careers and not pay attention to what the other 3 guys are doing?
Awful difficult. As a matter of fact, you get out there and you start thinking about, I've got to look better each time I get out, then De La Hoya, then Shane Mosley. The next thing you know, you don't have a career of your own. Shut it off. Tend to your own business. And I think that whoever does that is going to be the one standing at the last.
Easier said than done, but the one who has had amazing focus throughout his whole career is Trinidad. He's shown that.
Trinidad has always been the best kept secret in the world. Now he's the world champion and there's no secret.
That's right. No secret anymore. And Larry Merchant, of course, you experienced all of those great matchups among the 4 stars of the 80s. What are your thoughts now as you look forward to a possible repeat of that scenario?
Well, the stars have to be aligned, and in that case, you had Sugar Ray Leonard, who took part in most of those fights, and he was the big box office draw who sort of made that happen. But what I'm reminded of when watching the champion tonight, Felix Trinidad, is that you have to be careful what you wish for in boxing, because there may be something better out there. You remember 6 months ago only, everybody was talking about a rematch of a kind of mediocre fight, Trinidad versus De La Hoya. Trinidad moves up to 154, and what do you have? He beats David Reed. De La Hoya has to fight Mosley. Mosley wins. There's a rematch in store. Trinidad is now going to fight Vargas. We could get a rematch out of that. We could get in the next 3 or 4 years a whole series of great fights. So once again, be careful what you wish for in boxing. There may be something better out there.
And indeed, our next appearance here will be August 19. But we'll talk about more on that in just a moment. In addition, of course, we'll be back with more on what happened in the ring. Let's look ahead to some other programs here on HBO.